To set up Set a Watch, you're first going to want to open the board, set it within reach of all players, and make sure to separate out all the different card types. I've done a little work before starting the video to make this simpler, but basically we have our location cards, our rest tokens, ability cards for our heroes, hero player boards, and the fire token. Players start by selecting their adventurers and taking their corresponding dice and ability powers. The red heroes, represented by the square cubes in the upper right, use D6 dices, whereas the heroes over here with the blue and triangles have D8s. So when you're making up your party, you're going to make sure you have a diverse range of heroes. You'll also notice that some heroes are ranged and have a bow and arrow down here, while some heroes are melee and have crossed swords. So you're going a good mix of melee and ranged characters. So players will select a hero. For this example, I'll select the wizard. And I would place the wizard player board in front of me. I would take whatever color dice I like. I'll use the yellow. And then the ability cards that represent the abilities I'll be able to use in the game. The first thing you do to set up is you're going to randomly take 3 of these ability cards. And then you're going to randomly shuffle these 3 ability cards. And you've been out adventuring, so every player starts with at least 1 ability card exhausted, which is flipped over to the black and white or gray side. So my Chaos Blast is currently exhausted, but I do have access to my passive ability of Enchant and my Curse ability. The last thing to note on player cards is every player and character has their own camp action, represented down here with a camp symbol and the description of what that ability can do. In this game, you'll be taking turns resting in camp, so this ability is a unique ability that your character can conduct when they are in camp. After everyone has selected a character, you're going to want to be sure to go through the creature deck and separate out all the Unhallowed from the creature cards. They'll have a similar back, but the Unhallowed have this special symbol next to them, meaning that they're one of the main bosses in the game. So after separating out all the Unhallowed, you can set those to the side for now. You're going to want to, you'll have the normal creatures left over, and you're going to want to set the difficulty of the game by putting these summon cards in the deck and spreading them out evenly. So for the hardest game possible, you would pick all 4 summon cards. Normal difficulty is around 2, so that's what I'm going to use. And then what you'll do is you'll evenly split up the deck. So with 2, it's pretty easy. You just split it in half. You're going to put a summon card into each half of the deck. Just shuffle that up a little bit. And stack them together. That will make up the creature deck for the game. You can set that near the board. The next thing you're going to do is prepare the map. You're going to want to look for the final location card, such as the Forbidden Tower. That's what comes with the base set. It has this fortress symbol on it. That is going to be the final round of the game that you have to complete. So you'll place that down on the board. Then after taking out any respite cards, which will eventually have a camp symbol here, you will shuffle together the remaining locations and randomly deal out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 random locations to make up the remaining locations you're going to face in the game. So every game you'll play a different sequence of locations. The remaining unused locations have a spot in the box for them. We call them the unused location deck, but there are some actions such as check map on the board which will let you go through the unused locations and potentially switch them out to make them easier. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Finally, you have to prepare the Unhallowed. Once again, I said you've taken out all these big bad bosses. You'll shuffle them together, And the first thing you'll do is, without looking, you're going to place one of these Unhallowed as the final boss in the final round of the game. So without knowing, we'll place him in the box to be faced in the final round. He represents the first creature in the Horde, which again, we'll talk about later. Those are creatures that are added to the final round creature line. The remaining Unhallowed can be shuffled and should be placed face up next to the board. You always know the next big bad boss that you're going to be facing. So you always know what Unhallowed to expect next on your adventure. Finally, sort of the final steps of setup are you're going to want to take the rest tokens and place them in camp or easily reachable in camp. I like to put them in the center here, the fire, personally. And then finally, you're going to take your fire marker and mark the starting firewood, which is 7. You can adjust that starting fire level if you'd like to make it more difficult, but the recommended starting is of course 7. That's pretty much it for setup. From here, we'll proceed into gameplay, but as you can see, the setup of this game is pretty quick and easy. The biggest part is separating out all the different card types, and of course, debating amongst your friends which character you're going to play. So thanks for watching this first part of the video. The next video will cover gameplay and how to enjoy playing Set a Watch.